Welcome to SoCal Sports Report's 71st live podcast. I am John Stellman along with Vince Morales, Jake Formansky in tonight, and we'll be talking primarily about the Rams and the Lakers, and we'll see at the end of the show if we have time for anything else to be just discussed, maybe a little bit of baseball and some Machado rumors that Jake's got for us. Vinny, your first impressions, opening impressions, we're going to go around and around on this one, on the Rams. I don't even know where to start.
You know, as a fan of the Rams, it's hard to be objective, and for somebody who just subjectively hates
Exactly.
and just wants no success for them. It's just one of those situations where the defense played as well. You hold a team like the Patriots to 13 points. You need to win that game.
You need to win.
So, I'm mixed about it. It was disappointing and disheartening. It was embarrassing, yet they really didn't have anything to be embarrassed about, right? It was shameful, yet they shouldn't be ashamed. They're saying all the right things, McVay and Goff, they're saying the right things about, not doing their job and getting out coached and not performing well and, sorry we wasted such a great performance by the defense. But, and it doesn't ring hollow. It feels right to me, and I think it's the only thing that's sort of buoying my spirits right. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. If you add up every position, we talked about this last week, every position
exactly.
on the Rams, it comes out to a greater sum than the Patriots. But somehow, with Belichick calling the plays, dialing things up, and Brady, who was ordinary. I mean, he was absolutely ordinary.
Yeah, he
left the door wide open. It's really hard to lose that kind of game, and to score just 3 points after a terrific defensive effort, it's hard to.
Yeah, you hold like you said, you hold anybody like New England to 13 points, you've got to win that game. I mean, and really they held them to 3 through most of the 3.5 quarters. Mm-hmm. They didn't get that last last touchdown until the fourth quarter. But I really think McVay got out coached. I think he got out coached. I mean. So excited at the start of the second half when I realized the Rams had, they deferred. They got the kickoff. They're in a 3-0 ball game. And I thought, now we're going to come out and we're going to see some changes. We're going to see the offense move the ball. We're going to see first downs. We're going to see a drive. We're going to see possession. And we're going to get some points. And I didn't see any changes at halftime. I didn't see anything different. The second half came out with the same old plays. They couldn't get their receivers, their cross patterns over the middle. New England had that defended. Cooks and Woods were practically non-existent. Goff was having a heck of a time, trying to find a receiver and trying to get the ball to him. He's throwing off his back foot and falling, throwing the ball, falling down half the time. It just didn't seem like everybody was on the same page.
Where it looked like the Rams video coming in, okay, this is what the Patriots are going to try and do. Let's try and, if they miss something here, maybe, Woods or Cooks will be open. But I think during the game, Belichick was just changing it up almost every play to where Goff was holding the ball too long to where, okay, that wasn't what we saw on tape. Like, oh, shoot, what do I do now? So I think that's kind of where it's like, he's got to kind of tip your cap to Belichick, and he's just a genius.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. He was dialing up schemes, but I personally didn't see a lot different in his scheme from what he did to Mahomes, which was it's a kid, that's a young kid, and I'm just gonna stunt on this, right. and we're gonna get vertical. We're gonna go north south with our defenders rather than try to play this laterally because who really hurt, and they can say whatever they want. He's hurt. He looked hurt. He looked bad because he's not that crappy a back, right?
I hope
We know
not.
that he's hurt, and there just wasn't. They didn't dial up enough to. It looked like early they sort of understood, right, that they needed to move the pocket a little bit. But that's not Goff's strength. I mean, all year long, when he's under pressure and he's moved out of the pocket, he becomes a very ordinary, if not bad, quarterback. And so I think Belichick looked at that and said, I know what I need to do. And again, it's always the same thing. When Belichick is on the sideline, if everybody does, the way he feels is like, everybody I'm a genius. Everybody do your job. If you don't do your job, we lose. If you do your job, we win. So on plays where they lose a play, he looks around and says, who didn't do their job? Well, it wasn't him. It wasn't him. And it just, not a bunch of stars. Really just handcuffed them. They handcuffed the Rams, and they should have been better at sort of identifying things and just and trying to use Cooks and Woods a little more out of the on the jet sweep and anything to sort of shake things up. And it looked like they were trying, but that the defensive line was better than the offensive line, and 1 sack for the Patriots offensive line.
Yeah.
I look at these numbers. I'm looking at the numbers, and the big thing that stands out to me is 154 yards rushing for the Patriots and just 62 for the Rams. Yeah. And again, they had 18 rushing attempts. You're not going to win. The Rams will not win with just 18 rushing attempts.
No.
And that is clear that Gurley just wasn't himself. Hey, that's okay. That's how good the Rams defense was.
Right.
But then when you start to see the differences, Patriots first downs on penalties 4, rushing first downs 6. Rams had 2 first downs rushing.
Yeah.
So a lot of it, yeah, absolutely. Belichick and his D coordinator, they dialed it up right. But some of it was just poor adjustments, poor play. It felt too big for Goff.
Yeah.
Do you think it'd be different if Gurley was out there just trying to be a decoy offensively?
I don't think anybody was buying that he was right. There were a couple times when he gashed them for 8 yards here or something like that, but it wasn't enough. He didn't feel. They weren't going to throw the ball to him.
It almost felt too like McVay almost didn't know what to do without Gurley in the game. In some plays,
yeah, because he doesn't. He takes a lot of those passes, swing passes, and there's another receiver that's out of the game, and
just it kind of like mess up their whole scheme where it's like, oh, we don't have Gurley, and it's like, what do we do now?
Yeah.
Almost
the way that I equate it, in my head, I think, the Patriots are this classic, old school Mercedes-Benz that is a really luxury ride, but it grinds it out. It's got 200,000 miles on it. It's but it still looks good. It's still classy, and the Rams are like this new sports car where that's too low profile. You go over one speed bump, and all of a sudden your axle, your suspension's out, or you got to take it in. Just doesn't run right. Just doesn't run the same way. So with Gurley out, that's a ding, right? And then you get schemes going, and it's like they're a well-oiled machine, but if one thing is out of kilter, that machine's not running.
Yep.
That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
All season.
Special teams for New England too. They had the punting game. The Rams are starting every possession, inside their 20. I mean, the guys punting the ball down to the 3-yard line. They're starting at the 5-yard line. They just had no decent field position to start from the whole game. I mean, they never got to start a play at the 40 or 45-yard line.
Yeah, but the first 8 games, that didn't feel like it was a concern for the Rams. It was either give it to Gurley and he bashes it up the middle and he gets you some space, or you play action. The Patriots just weren't buying play action at all. Established any kind of running game at all. It was, and trust me, it was the same. It looked to me like the same scheme every down. It was, defensive linemen going north south,
Right.
and linebackers drifting back, and the corners just and safeties just. It looked like they knew on a lot of those plays, like they knew exactly where Goff was going. There'd be 4 defensive backs with 2, Rams receivers in the same zone. And Goff was never, and then Goff would have to abandon the pocket, and he was never going to be that guy. He's got a great arm, he's got a live arm, but he missed some guys. But let's not get it twisted. Brady was ordinary. Brady is not an ordinary guy, but he was ordinary. Yeah. He missed a lot of passes. Mm-hmm. He got knocked down once or twice.
Why couldn't they figure out something on Edelman? I'm sure they've seen video of him all year. Did the same thing in the Super Bowl he's done all year, and he was open all day long.
I think they were more. I think if from the Chief game and the Charger game, it sounded like that they wanted to not get beat by the 2 backs from the Patriots. It was like, all right, let Edelman, go be open in space, but we don't want to get beat underneath by Michelle and Burkhead and all these other running backs from them. So it was kind of like, okay, if we can kind of contain them, Edelman's going to be, in the middle of the field to where it's going to be not too devastating, where, if Michelle gets out open and, that's a 30-yard, catch and run right there.
Yeah, look, I'm no football genius, right? But I know that when you put a receiver on the end, right, you see the guy line up, and he might be playing, bump at the line. He might be falling back in his zone. I mean, he's a slot guy, and they moved him around, and Brady knew, and every single play, he knew exactly who was covering. He knew exactly who was covering, and he knew that if they're in a zone, they're going to fall back, and then Edelman just settles down on a little crossing pattern, or he just gives a cornerback a shake, and he's open by 5 yards. He was wide open on every play. On every single play. I mean, if we went back and watched tape and ISO'd Edelman, he maybe got touched at the line, but
he was open.
Shook it off and was open. It was like the Rams. It was like they were playing a Martian.
Yep.
It was disappointing because it's like, okay, is Edelman a Hall of Famer? He played like one.
Yep. C.J. Anderson's really not the right success, just booming up the middle against Patriot defensive. That's where you really miss Gurley. Mm-hmm. Somebody can get outside, has a little speed. Anderson's had, he had some good ball games coming into the playoffs, but not against that defense.
Again, McVay supposedly a genius at using tight ends. I know. Did the tight ends get a call? Did Everett Higbee get a call?
I think so.
I don't even remember them catching a ball, or if they were targeted, maybe once or twice. They just didn't have a lot of plays. I mean, they had 60 plays, and you look at the time of possession, right? 33 minutes for the Patriots, 26 minutes for the Rams, 68 plays for the Pats, 60 for the Rams. Even though they were in it, it never felt like the Rams were in it.
No.
You kind of hoped. It felt like when I would watch the Dodgers in the old days, when Kershaw'd be in there with a 2-run lead, and then he'd give he'd give up 3, and it just felt insurmountable. As soon as Kershaw was out, it just felt insurmountable. Back in the old days when the Dodgers couldn't hit,
right.
And they never hit when Kershaw was on the hill. It just felt weird. I don't know. 9 penalties for 65 yards for the Rams. 4 first downs on penalties. You just can't do that. No. You just can't do that.
Yeah, that's.
Especially that one big penalty early in the first quarter where they had, basically they stopped them and they were going to punt, and then I forgot what it was, rough illegal hands to the face or whatever, as an automatic first. It's like at that point, it's like
there was an helmet, right?
Yeah.
It was
To where it kind of just felt like it took all the, wind out of the sails for the Rams at that point, because they had the momentum too. I think because wasn't it a 3rd and 15 or for the
they had
Patriots?
held him. I mean, when he came face to face, he just ran right. Edelman ran right into him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just again, look, the refereeing was fine, and letter of the law that he went face mask to face mask on him and didn't give him time to turn, and fine, letter of the law. But it's just like, I've been watching football for 45 years, and it's like that's only been a penalty for 2-3 years of my life.
They really converted on a lot of key the Patriots. A lot of key third downs, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 7. When the Rams had held them for the first two downs, they just.
Well, I mean, so the Patriots were 3 for 12 on third downs. 3 for 12, but they got 4 first downs from penalties. Rams were 3 for 13. Dreadful. I mean, that's just that's a good defensive performance by the Rams.
Oh yeah, nothing wrong with the defense.
No, nothing at all. But they just it's discouraging. It's discouraging. But you look at it and you feel like, okay, that team's going to have some holes to fill. And I think the linebacking core has some flaws. Not so great. What are we going to do to replace Sue? Is he going to re-sign? Now we worry about a whole batch of other things, and whether we can get Gurley right and straight.
It looked like game changes. I think on that touchdown drive, didn't they use 2 tight ends and 2 backs for the first time? I think they did on that touchdown drive, where I didn't see McVay do anything.
Well, the results were the same. So even if he did, it didn't feel like it, right?
Yeah. What are you guys really your serious thoughts about Gurley? I mean, obviously he's got to be here, but why all the secrecy? This has been going on for 3 weeks. He didn't play against the playoffs. Did he miss the last game of the regular season? I mean, how can McVay come out there on Thursday and say he's 100%? And then the game before that, he took the blame. Oh, it's my fault. I got to get him more touches. A guy like that, I mean, offensive player of the year last year, he's got to be hurt. If he's hurt, why don't they just say, hey, get him out of there, get him a surgery, get him ready. Going to be a force in the Super Bowl. I mean, they saw what he did against,
Dallas,
New Orleans. Nothing didn't play in that game either. I mean, I hope the heck he's hurt, but I hope we weren't seeing the real Todd Gurley in these last couple of games.
Well, the thing that I have a problem with was today, where it was the last time the media can go into the Rams locker room today and talk and have their last discussions, and Gurley denied all of them. So it's almost kind of like, okay, now you definitely got to be hurt, because now what? I know you lost the Super Bowl, you don't want to talk, understandable, but you haven't done. I mean, really, he hasn't done anything since. I mean, the Bear game, and he didn't do that much then.
Right.
So it's like now it's kind of it's okay to come out and say that you're hurt, but now to kind of blow off the media where now they're gonna write anyway. It's kind of just. Was there something there?
Yeah, well, now they've got several months, a couple of months, before the draft, to sort of expound and write whatever they want. And I think you're right that, you said something where it's like, I hope he was hurt, because if he just pooped his big boy pants, then that doesn't bode well for the Rams' title chances going forward. I'm thinking he's hurt. And I think what we're seeing is, I trust McVay. He's a young man, and there's plenty of things that he needs to learn. And he got out coached, but he's been around the game. I mean, he's a legacy in the game. His father and grandfather, have been in the game forever. So I think he knows how to handle. And again, Gurley was hurt, not hurt enough. and he saw that using him for 30, 40 snaps, he wasn't going to be able to do that. So you have to make some excuse. So I'm almost certain that Gurley said, "I'm fine, I can go," and McVay would watch him in practice and say, "No, you're not. No, you're not." And you dropped a pass for an interception in the New Orleans game. You whiffed on 2 blocks in pass protection. You dropped another pass. You're not hitting the hole. You're not fine. You're not fine. Right. If that's how you want to play it, that you're 100%, that's how I'll play it in the media. But you're not fine. And I think McVay overplayed that. I think that in retrospect, he probably should have just said, "No, you know what? I don't know. I don't." And then at least Gurley's got an excuse, right?
Yeah.
And if for some reason he gets after it a little bit, then it's sort of that like wink, wink. Oh well, I guess Gurley wasn't as hurt as I. Just play that game a little bit. But you don't gain anything by saying, "No, he's fine. He's fine.
Yeah.
He's fine." Because then Gurley's got to stand there and say, "I just played like crap.
Yeah.
I was just bad."
Yeah.
That should be Gurley with an I instead of a U. That's what happens. But I think 38-year-old McVay says, "Geez, I don't know what we're gonna do without him. That's a good team we're playing. I guess C.J. Anderson's gonna have to carry the load. I don't know what we're gonna do with Gurley. I don't even know if we're gonna suit him up." And you suit him up. And then you suit him up and you play him, and if you get right,
yeah.
But if you keep telling people, "No, he's fine," and then you only hand the ball to him, a handful of times, then we all know you're a liar.
In retrospect, I hate to say this, but the Saints and the Pats would have been a hell of a lot better ball game. Breeze and Brady, I think, would have been a heck of a lot.
Yeah, but would that Saints defense would have been able to do what the Rams defense did? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
But the Saints offense could have done a lot more than the Ram offense. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Any last thoughts on the Super Bowl?
I think the Rams shore up a few things, get a little more blue collar on offense. It just feels a little timing and the balance off of it. I think if they can get a little wrinkle, trust their tight ends a little more. I have some hope for them, but they got to shore some things up on defense next year, because there's going to be some things that are shifting and happening where these contracts aren't all going to be picked up. So we'll see.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the Lakers, which is a never-ending soap opera. I think we all heard the Magic's final option to get out of this mess, calling it ridiculous or outrageous or whatever New Orleans wants for Anthony Davis. What are your feelings on that? Do they wait now till the summer? Maybe teaming up with Durant in New York. If Kyrie's not in Boston, I don't think Danny Ainge is going to give anybody up for Anthony Davis. I don't know whether I don't think any of these other teams, the Knicks, the Clippers, the Milwaukee, can offer. They're the other teams that he says he would consider going to. I don't think they can offer anything anything better than what the Lakers offered. So we just move on to the summer and forget about it? Or is our last second 11:59 where Delps picks up the phone and says, I changed my mind. I certainly would not take the offer he's given. What, 4 firsts and 4 seconds and 6 or 7 players?
With a bad contract?
Bad contracts? Magic's absolutely right. You can't, think of And LeBron's going to be gone in a 3 years maybe. So I can't blame Magic for backing out of that deal.
And that's kind of a deal that you'd go and get like a LeBron James with, I feel like, too, with that many picks and that many, players. But, I mean, to go in with the trade deadline is this Thursday? Or
Noon Thursday.
Noon Thursday? I don't know. I think if you're the Lakers, I think you got to just kind of wait until the summer and just try and, kind of weather, because here's the other thing too that I was kind of listening to other radio stations about it this morning, where they were saying, well, what happens if Anthony Davis does come to the Lakers? They're not going to beat Golden State. And then what happens, in the history of when, you have two stars, LeBron and another big star, and LeBron, basically is the star, and then you have the scapegoat, and LeBron will probably point the finger at Anthony Davis, and now how does that kind of work out in the clubhouse? So it's kind of like, do you want it? I mean, are you trying to win it now, or do you wait a year and get less, not less for him, but not take on as much or give away as much, and to get Anthony Davis to, and he might not even, and he could leave.
Yeah, Magic is not very patient, but I think he has to be patient.
Yeah,
this time.
Yeah, Magic is the same front office guy that he was as a player. He wears his emotions on his sleeve, and it's really hurting the team. You saw that, everybody could have predicted who the Lakers were going to take. It was Lonzo Ball. Didn't matter where they were picking, whether they were picking first, second, third, fourth. It didn't matter. If Ball was there when the guy overall better guy. Again, for the Lakers, it probably didn't make sense to take a Tatum because, they had an Ingram type of guy. So, I mean, I get it, but again, you can't just wear your heart out on your sleeve and just, again, even letting it leak and not refuting it.
Yeah.
When it starts to leak out that you'll get that everybody's available, or that I don't even remember if Magic said it into a camera or into a microphone, but to even let it leak out and not refute it and say, "Well, that's nonsense."
Nobody's untouchable except
that's
LeBron.
Again, let the broadcasters say that, let the local radio station guys say that, let the people write about it. But as a general manager, you kind of have a little leverage, and you got to say that's nonsense. That's nonsense. We're gonna make if we. That sort of thing. And again, you get into these ideas of of tampering, and where you don't want to say anything, but it's just like, I can't comment on another team's player, and to say that we'll give up anybody for anybody, that's just nonsense. And those are the types of things that he needs to say, right, as a general manager. Otherwise, you're going to get into this, and New Orleans has no reason to bat, right, an eye here. They don't. They're not going to blink on this. They don't need to. And this, let me tell you, the Celtics have a lot to give, and if they feel like things are getting away from them, or Kyrie's not going to re-sign, or why wouldn't they go after Anthony Davis? Right now, the only reason they can't do it is because of the the rosters and the designations, right? They've gotten way more pieces.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's to me, it makes a lot of sense. I don't know if he wants to play there.
No, I know his dad doesn't want him to play there.
No.
But I don't know how much influence Dad has.
No.
And anyway, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. There'll be a lot of movement. I think a lot of free agent movement, or at least there's a lot of speculation about movement next summer.
Well, then there's rumblings about Lonzo Ball going to Phoenix too.
Well, that's his dad. I mean, that's just
dad wants.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, obviously, if the Lakers are going to make a deal for Anthony Davis right now, a third or a fourth team has to be involved because of the roster spots and the salary and just the way things are, right? So they've got 15 roster the season is over. So that you can give away 4 guys and 4 picks, but if you're only getting 1 guy back, then the math isn't right. So what is New Orleans going to do? They're gonna cut 3 guys? No, they're not going to cut 3 guys. So those things have to shift, and then the salaries have to make sense. And there's rules, right, about how much salary. You can only take 125% of what of a salary, right? So there are rules, and so you can't just give somebody 4 players and 4 picks. That doesn't happen to one team. And you can spread 4 players and 4 picks out amongst 4 different teams, but it just feels like it's too short of a time period for that sort of thing to happen. Yeah. I don't see a blockbuster trade happening for the Lakers in the next 2 days. Roll the dice in free agency and move contracts around as they see fit, and sort of dangle a couple of pieces out there. The Rondo thing, you can get rid of Ball now, but if you only got Rondo for the season, right? It's 1 year contract,
1 year contract.
And so then what do you do?
Yeah.
And you're back to square one. I think there's a lot of work left to do for the Lakers, for the front office, for Pelinka and for Magic. There's a lot, going on.
Yeah, they. This thing isn't working out the way they had hoped. Sign LeBron, then sign a big free agent. Nobody wants to play with LeBron, or at least that's what the indications are. I don't think LeBron. How is he going to? He's not going to be very happy if they.
The only thing that you read after if they don't get Davis is Jabari Parker. That's their next, kind of like plan B. And it's like, is that going to help?
Look, Anthony Davis is great. And the idea, again, in a vacuum, you go, start my team with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I don't care who the hell else you give me, right? You can make it work, right? It's not going to happen. But to me, that pie in the sky idea is like, that's fine. We'll make it work. I don't care. Again, I don't care who we have to give up. But the reality of it is that this team feels like it's a little closer. This team feels like it has some of the parts that could complement.
Yeah.
If you don't
LeBron, have to give them all up,
right? You don't necessarily have to give them all up. Sell high, right? I love Zubats, but you can sell high on him. You can sell high on Ingram, sell high on Kuzma. Yeah. Any 1 or 2 of those guys, I think it makes sense for the Lakers. But to sort of just, I'm worried about Luke that he doesn't know exactly what to do with this team. I mean, that team had a 14-point lead on the Clippers, again in the fourth quarter, and it's been the same with LeBron, without LeBron. They have trouble. The ball stops. They milk clock rather than just sort of play the game. They commit stupid turnovers. They don't defend on the perimeter, and they let teams back in. And before, they've been missing free throws. So they're way against the Clippers, but it feels like that's what young teams do, right? But LeBron trying to take over or trying to give it up to somebody and let them grow. I don't know. I just never know who's going to be in the fourth quarter. And the fact that there are times when you look around and go, where the hell's Lonzo? Oh, that's right. We can't play him because he can't shoot free throws.
Right.
That's why he's not in the game. But you wish that he had been in that game. That it was just, the fact that they called a timeout before the end. I mean, there's just some weird stuff happening.
Yeah,
my confidence in Luke grows shorter and shorter.
Yeah, it's been very confusing. Very confusing. A lot of his rotation. I think I think he's in over his head, and I don't know.
Well, the pieces are always moving.
Yeah.
But you know what it's like to follow sports, right? You know, you go, okay, here's the situation. It's, you know, baseball. You know, you watch the Angels or the Dodgers, and you go, okay, here's the situation. Here's the lineup that's coming up. Here's who, you know, SoCal last year was going to go to, probably likely going to go to, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't feel that way with the Lakers, right? Oh, here's who I'm going to see with 4 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter and a 6-point lead.
Pick a name out of the hat.
Yeah. It's like, oh, Lance Stevenson, he's hot. Let's leave him in. But he makes such dumb plays. He's a great shooter, and he brings a lot of energy, but he's just dumb as a rock. Oh, my God. And Lonzo, for whatever, the three, if he penetrates, they just foul him.
Yeah. No problem. He'll miss him. Yeah.
He'll miss one, at least.
Yeah, that's
So he can't, and then it's a matter of who's going to defend and who's going to be in there, and it's just sometimes it's guys are hurt, right? But then there are other times when you just scratch your head and go, I haven't seen Ingram in like 8 minutes.
Yeah. It's been a mystery. Let's see. How about some baseball? Machado and Harper, heard any rumblings
Latest on
that?
that is that they're kind of coming back and saying that they want 1-year deals and maybe go, you know, test the waters next year is the latest that everyone's kind of reporting now.
That would be a heck of a free agent class next year then.
That'd be probably better than the one this year, especially with Arenado only just re-signing to. So that, you know, he's not coming back, you know, after next year. So it's good. I mean, I think the market, obviously, for those two guys has fallen dramatically, especially when you're seeing that, you know, the Padres are, you know, in the hunt for both of them. So I don't know. I think Harper and Machado are in big trouble.
There haven't been any firm offers to either one of them, have there? Some rumored.
The rumored one was the White Sox. That's about it. And then the concrete one was only the Nationals. It was a 10-year, $320, I want to say, for Harper. That was right after the season.
You were talking before the broadcast. Do you think he might go back?
I think he'll go back. And I think Machado, honestly, I think he'll end up with the White Sox. That's what I think. I think that the market's gone down so low for him that I think he'll sign that 175.
He doesn't care.
But Bryce Harper, I put money that he wouldn't go back. Even if they came out and said, "Look, we'll give you a 3-year, $150 million deal," I don't think he's going back at all to Washington. I mean, I think that ship has sailed. I think that's done. I think it's over.
It needs to sail too with him in there.
Yeah. What is?
The ship.
Yeah, the ship needs to sail.
Especially what they're doing with starting pitching and how they're getting, you know, they're signing guys.
They spend a lot of money on
starting
pitching.
pitching's better.
That pitching's going to be good.
And I don't think Harper's the guy that they need, especially with the young talent that they have in the outfield in Washington. I think you'd be okay with letting him walk.
Yeah. Plus, you know, if he's obviously going to demand a big contract, which they're probably not interested in. And who else did they sign? They signed another pretty good pitcher. I can't recall who it was. That's going to be a good rotation with Strasburg and.
They lost Rohr, Corbin, Zimmerman.
Yeah.
I mean, Scherzer, sorry.
Scherzer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think, you know, that's why the whole Padre thing was kind of, you know, enticing, just because I was reading something where even if they signed Harper, the Padres, it wouldn't affect, because the Padres have some bad contracts. It wouldn't theoretically affect them as bad. So that means that it's probably coming to a 6 or an 8-year deal with, you know, less money. So that's why it wouldn't hurt them, you know, in the long run, you know, signing Harper.
Yeah.
The Hosmer deal is probably going to hurt him the most. Is an
6,
off
7
the
years.
7, yeah. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but I mean, it's amazing.
I think it's adorable that people think the Padres can sign anybody, that they're even committed to doing anything. It's really cute. The Padres, they should, right? What a great ballpark. What a great city. You got no other pro team to deal with.
Yeah.
Spend a little money, right? I mean, the fact that they would even look,
only game
the
in town.
Hosmer thing was a mistake, right? It's a mistake, but you got to get back on that horse, right? Harper is not Hosmer, okay? You know, they've made some bad decisions, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw some ridiculous statistic about Hosmer, you know, like how many. That's awful.
Supposed to be a power hitter.
Especially in
Home
that ballpark, too.
That's
That's not gonna
that's
work.
dreadful.
Yeah.
It was like 250 or 260 times on the ground. And that's, you know, 1/3 of the time, 30, you know. Ugh.
Yeah, that's not where you want the ball to go off of his bat.
No, and especially, too, like, I mean, if you're looking at the NL West, I mean, you got the Dodgers obviously on top. You got Colorado. And then, I mean, the Giants are, you know, they don't know what directions they want to go in. The Diamondbacks are pretty much getting rid of everybody. I mean, the Padres could, if they theoretically can sign a Harper, I mean, that, you know, they could be in the running.
And that's the reason I say that if they had any sense at all and they just said, screw it, you know, small market, big market, doesn't matter we're the only team in town.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, go out and offer $40 million 1-year contract to Harper, and because with what they've got, you know, again, everybody wants to think that they're aligned, they're in line to get Machado, they're in line to get Harper, they're in line to get Real Muto. It's like they signed Hosmer last year. Yeah, they're banking on, but again, you ride a horse, right? You stay on that horse. It feels like the Padres are just gonna wait for their farm system to develop.
They've got a good farm system.
They've got a great
farm
system.
system.
Yeah, they got a great farm system.
But it's getting to the point now where it's like, okay, you got a great farm system. Let's start seeing these guys.
Add just
See
one,
the
two,
results.
add a couple pieces
Instead
to
of
it.
talking about it for the last 4 years, you know, let's
Right.
go see Tatis and Gore.
They've made some. I mean, they've made some decisions that have really hurt them. You know, the big contract for the pitcher from Kansas City. What was his name? I can't remember.
Kennedy?
No, it was I can't remember. He went.
Oh,
to,
Greinke.
No, the Padres. They signed that one Kansas City pitcher. We don't. We'll figure. I'll remember his name later. But yeah, it was the same year that they got Kemp, and they made a couple of big signings, and it all went to crap. You know, and then you just look at that lineup, and it's just not.
Not going to scare you.
No.
No.
Not going to scare you.
But if guys like, you know, Hunter Renfroe start to develop, and, you know, some of those other kids that they've got, they get a little pitching, you know.
Yeah.
They won't be in the hunt this year. But, again, you know, your fans deserve better than 90 to 100 wins, 100 losses every year. They just deserve better.
Yeah, like I say, it's a good ballpark. It's a good area down there, and it's a great city. Go out to a ball game, and you don't want to go out there and see a loss after loss after loss every season. I mean, that's.
I mean, just from a marketing standpoint, it's like, come on, just get them.
Yeah.
Get one of them.
Yeah. That would be. Anything new on Real Muto? No.
Nothing's happening right now. It just again, it feels like the year of the it's the year of the pig.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It's the year of the pig, and it's a year of these pig deals where everybody's being piggy and greedy about what they want, and it's like, fine, wait to lose them, in in a couple of years. You're trying to build, but he's still very affordable.
Oh, yeah.
Why do you need to get rid of him?
Yeah.
So that continue to ask for the moon. But if they have to keep him, that's a pretty good contract to keep.
It's not bad.
Yeah, he's a pretty good receiver. I forgot. Oh, you mentioned talked a little bit about SC UCLA basketball. Both of them are just treading water. But you made an interesting point that the power-laden Pac-12 is probably going to only have one member in the 68-team field now with all the play-in games. They'll only have Washington in the tournament.
They're the only one that looks guaranteed right now. Everybody else is struggling. I mean, you look at any projected bracket right now, and they're the only team that's in is Washington. Figure it out. I mean, USC has had some good wins, right? They won the 3 in a row. They beat Arizona State, beat UCLA. Looked pretty good doing it. But they're a different team when they go on the road. So, they went on the road and they lost to Washington, and that was expected. And they beat Washington State on the road, which is, it's a good win. I mean, anytime you're winning on the road in the Pac-12, that's good. But that's still only a team that's 4 games over 500. And we know that the Pac-12 is, the conference that eats its own, right? I mean, so they're gonna play a bunch of games and they're gonna beat up on each other. And Washington will probably lose a game in the Pac-12 at some point, but they're still gonna be the winner of the regular season in the Pac-12. Nobody's gonna catch them, at least in my opinion. And then they're gonna get to the Pac.
Pac-12 tournament.
Yeah, they will. They will, but there's no guarantee that the team that upsets them in the Pac-12 tournament gets a bid. There's just no guarantee.
Yep.
It's pretty bad.
Well, I know I forgot to mention, we're talking baseball. Keuchel. Keuchel's still out there. Nobody's made a move on him.
Mm-hmm.
There's a nice number 2 left-hand starter. Yeah. Nobody's even...
Sounds like he's going to land in Cincinnati. It's the
Keuchel?
latest rumor, yeah. But, I mean, it's kind of cute. Cincinnati's got to get pitching, though, so that's kind of where he should land with all their moves.
They've got some, they've got some good pitching. Plus, they've got Puig there now.
Puig, yeah.
It might be.
They're gonna be, chasing the Brewers.
Yeah.
And the Cardinals now with Goldschmidt, right?
Too, yeah.
No. Not much else. Ducks and Kings are awful, battling for the cellar. It's a disgusting, disgraceful.
It's bad. It's really bad.
Bad season. Bad hockey season.
Bad team, man.
In Southern California.
The Gulls are playing well. That's the only
What's that?
positive. The San Diego Gulls are playing well.
Gulls.
That's about it. They're going to win their division
Until the Ducks pull all their players up. That guy might end up coaching the Ducks next year.
That's the rumor.
Yeah.
That's kind of the guy that they've been talking about. I don't think it should be, but if that's, anybody's better than Carlisle right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, they.
Carlisle's just. I'm in the first place.
No, I don't know why they brought him back. Murray better watch out too, or he'll be out the door.
Yeah, no, and I'm a big Murray supporter, but he's on thin ice too.
Yeah. How about the Kings? They're just struggling.
Yeah, well,
struggling alone.
We'll see what they're trying to do, obviously, by letting Muzzin go. Trading Muzzin and picking up some, 3, a pick and 2 prospects.
Right.
They're trying to get faster. So that Swedish forward that they got from the Leafs.
That was actually a good deal.
It was a good deal. And both teams got a good deal. Muzzin's going to help the Leafs. He's a top-notch defender. And the Kings got younger. And they got that we see the writing on the wall there. It's just a matter of what pieces they're going to bring up, and so I'm hoping that we see some of these kids get some ice time, get some minutes, and get some shifts and get their legs under them, and get some time, so that when they get back into the back into training camp, they've got almost like a year under their belt.
Yeah, give them a little experience at the end of this season, so they know what it's all about. They'll be ready to go next year.
Because both teams, both have great goaltending. So, that's, one thing you don't have to worry about. It's just, I think, for both sides, you got to get the young guys in. Let them play.
Yeah. I think the problems with, the Kings is that when you get rid of a defender, the quality of Jake Muzzin, you get younger, yes, but it also puts more of an onus. Hasn't been 100% all year. And and the rest of the guys, and then you've got a expansion draft come, to worry about.
When's that going to be?
The end of the season.
End of the season.
Do they start on what, in 2020?
Mm-hmm. It would be. I think it's. I want to say. Yeah, I think it's October.
So the expansion draft is at the end of this year.
At the end of the season.
End of the season.
Yeah.
Right, because the Seattle's coming in
2020. Yeah.
2020. Yeah. It's going to be basically the same way they stocked Vegas.
I think so.
Yeah, that's what it sounds
probably
like.
Will. Well, they'll probably have a pretty decent team then.
That's why a lot of, for the Kings and the Ducks, that's why you saw like guys from both sides, early in the season. Down because there was, after they got announced about the draft, the expansion draft, they could actually take if a player plays 10 or 15 more games, he's an automatic bid for the draft. That's why both the Ducks and Kings were kind of always getting close to that
guys.
threshold, and then they would send them down to the EHL.
Yeah. Well, that's understandable.
It'll work.
All right, John's not here to talk any golf.
I was going to say, wasn't there news on Ohtani that
oh yeah,
he's not going to start the season?
Won't be ready.
He won't be ready to start the season?
Oh, I didn't see that. I saw that he was going to.
They say he's not going to pitch till 2020. Well, we knew that.
But
right?
they're saying he might not even be ready to hit.
Okay. I
June.
missed that. Yeah, I thought he was going to be able to DH. So how long?
They're saying until June.
So in my mind, when I saw that on the crawl, I thought,
Yeah.
Late April.
Yeah.
Maybe May. But, boy, if it's June, that hurts.
Angels ought to be 17 and a half games out by then.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. We're a little short, but I don't have anything else. If you guys don't, we'll just wrap her up.
The only thing I can say is, Angels, go get Machado. Go get Harper. Go do something. Spend some money.
I think they're saving their money for Trout.
Well, it's again. It's
I would put Machado at third base for a year.
Yeah, you've come around. You come to my side. You've come over to the dark side.
Put Cozart at second.
The problem is, I think Machado is too selfish. He won't want to play third. I think he would, but I don't think he wants to.
Coming to play
Local
third.
boy.
Mm-hmm. El Toro.
That's right.
So you give Machado a 1-year deal? Give him a 1-year deal.
1-year deal? I would take that in a heartbeat. I'll pick him up from the airport right now.
Yeah.
Seriously. That'd actually help.
That'd be a nice lineup.
It would be.
Be a nice lineup.
It's going to be, I hope the Ohtani thing isn't till June, but just from what everyone's been kind of throwing out there, it doesn't seem like he's...
Was it a setback,
swinging.
or is he just not healing as quickly as I thought, or what was it?
I think it's just he's not healing as quickly as they thought.
You know that from the beginning I was just going, I don't know how that's going to work. I understand that it can work, but I didn't buy that for a second. That he was going to be ready to go and hitting the ball and and being on the roster and being a DH. I wasn't buying that at all. Again, I'm still, and he's like, I doubt he's going to play more than a few games during the spring.
Yeah. When's he going to be?
That I haven't heard. They're claiming, just much like the Angels were with Ohtani, that he was going to be ready for opening day. That he'll be ready. I doubt it.
That's one surgery's bad enough when you have the hip as well. I mean, that's a major surgery. Having the rotator and the hip. That's
Well, it was Tommy John with Seager.
yeah.
And a hip.
Yeah.
He had both. So he's I don't know what his recovery is like with the hip. That's the one thing that is sort of like they're blowing off, they're playing off.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody knows that Tommy John's a Tommy John is a Tommy John, right? This is how much. But the Dodgers claim he is. Maybe they shut him down early enough, but that hip surgery came late after the Tommy John, and that was later. I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen him swing a bat.
What is normal recovery time for a hip?
That surgery, I have no idea.
Maybe it varies depending on whatever.
No idea. I know Tommy John, it's,
Well, we know Tommy John.
Months.
Yeah, 12 to 18?
Yeah, 12 to 18.
Like that.
The only thing with Seager though is at least you're seeing him, at Camelback in Glendale, Arizona, working out. So I mean, at least you see, okay, like at least he's there. With Ohtani, it's just like, what's going on now? There's news that he's not going to be ready. It's like that kind of scares me.
So is he going to be here or in Japan when the season starts? I mean,
he'll be in Arizona.
Yeah.
Seager being there and kind of just swinging off a tee is a lot nicer than saying, "Oh, he's not going to be." Ohtani might not be ready till June.
Yeah, I mean, it's You're right. It's
it's
encouraging.
Yeah.
It's encouraging, but we all know that
Yeah.
hitting off the tee isn't the same as going live pitching and pounding pounding it every day.
Yeah. All right, if that is it, we are out.
Good night.
Right.